Did you know that every single year, literally hundreds of thousands of Floridians reach into their pocket or purse only to experience that sudden stomach-dropping realization? Their driver license is gone. If that's you right now, I know exactly how incredibly stressful and frustrating it is. It kind of feels like your whole life has just been put on hold. But take a deep breath, because you are absolutely not alone in this predicament, and I am here to assure you that we have a foolproof, highly structured guide to get this fixed. It's the worst, right? Whether your wallet got swiped at a theme park, you left it on the table at a restaurant, or it just seemingly vanished into thin air, that initial panic you're feeling is completely valid. It's a massive inconvenience. But here is the good news. Getting a replacement license in the state of Florida is actually a really straightforward, well-documented process. We're going to walk through exactly what you need to do step by step to get you back on the road safely and legally. Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for this explainer. We'll be covering the panic and the fix, gathering your required documents, applying online or in person, understanding fees and waivers, out-of-state options, and finally, some final tips and a disclaimer.
All right, part one, the panic and the fix.
Now, what's really interesting here is losing your ID is a total headache. And your very first thought is probably, how much is this going to cost me? But depending on exactly how you lost your license, there is actually a pretty unexpected silver lining. If your license wasn't just misplaced, but was legitimately stolen, your replacement could be completely free. When you file a police report for a stolen license, you become eligible for a fee waiver, bringing your cost to $0. Yep, absolutely nothing. So whether your card was stolen or just, swallowed by the couch cushions, the overarching fix really just boils down to 3 simple steps. First, choose your application method. Second, gather your documents. And third, apply and pay. Easy, right? Moving smoothly right into section 2 of our explainer, gathering your required documents. I absolutely cannot stress this enough. This right here is where the magic happens. Doing a little prep work now is going to save you hours of pulling your hair out later. The exact paperwork you need depends entirely on the status of your old, lost card. Was your license Real ID compliant? Basically, did it have that little gold star in the top right corner? If it did, and absolutely none of your personal details have changed, you have it incredibly easy. You can skip gathering new documents. However, if it didn't have that gold star, or if your name or address changed, you're going to have to provide some specific paperwork. Okay, so if you fall into the category of needing documents, the first thing on your checklist is proof of identity. The good news, you only need to provide one of these items. The most common choices folks grab are an original or certified U.S. birth certificate or a valid U.S. passport. Oh, and if you were born abroad or you're a naturalized citizen, documents like a certificate of naturalization will work perfectly. Next up, you've got to prove your social security number and your residential address. For your social security number, you just need one document. Think your physical social security card, a W-2, or maybe a recent pay stub that shows the full number. Then for your address, you must provide 2 distinct proofs. This could be a lease agreement paired up with a utility bill, or maybe your vehicle registration alongside a voter card. Basically, the state just wants to make absolutely sure you actually live where you say you live. And this brilliantly illustrates what I like to call the golden rule of the DMV. Originals or certified copies only. Seriously, no photocopies. This is, without a doubt, the most common mistake people make. Do not print out a photo of your birth certificate from your phone. Do not bring a blurry photocopy of your passport. If it is not a certified original document, you will literally be turned away at the counter, completely resetting your progress. And nobody wants to do that twice. All right, you've got your paperwork sorted. Let's look at section 3, applying online or in person. You basically have 2 primary paths to get your hands on that new piece of plastic, and it really just depends on how fast you need it. You can use the state's My DMV portal online. This is fantastic if your records are current and you're not in a huge rush, because you do have to allow up to 30 days to receive your replacement card by mail. And definitely make sure your mailing address is 100% accurate in the system so it doesn't get lost. On the flip side, if you need a photo ID like today, you'll want to schedule an in-person appointment at your local tax collector's office. You will walk out with a printed card the exact same day. Just keep in mind, appointments are pretty much always required for in-office services these days. Let's shift gears to section 4, understanding fees and waivers. Let's talk about the money side of things, because the cost can actually vary a bit based on your situation. If you just misplaced your license, the standard replacement fee imposed by the state is $25.
To put that into perspective, it's about the cost of a couple of movie tickets. It is also worth noting that some local county tax collector offices might tack on a tiny little service charge on top of that base fee if you visit them in person, but $25 is the baseline cost you should anticipate.
So, the crucial point here, and this is a big one, is the in-person waiver rule. Remember earlier when we talked about getting that fee wiped down to $0 if your license was stolen? Well, the fine print kind of buries this detail. You cannot get that waiver processed through the online portal. No way. To actually take advantage of that stolen credential fee waiver, you are absolutely required to walk in and present a copy of your police report in person at a driver license office.
Let's pivot for a second to Section 5, out-of-state options.
Now, I know there are viewers panicking right now because they lost their Florida license while they were, say, traveling out of state on vacation or maybe deployed for military service. Don't worry, Florida actually has two distinct solutions for this. If you are a civilian who is just temporarily outside of Florida, you can contact the state and request a one-time 90-day temporary driving permit. It won't have a photo on it, but it absolutely keeps you driving legally until you return home. On the other hand, if you are active duty military, you have an entirely different option, applying for a military extension card through Form 73641. And for our military personnel, look at how incredibly flexible this extension is. That military extension card literally extends your driving privileges until 90 days after you were discharged, or until you return to Florida to reside, or even until you obtain a new license in a completely different state. It is just a fantastic benefit for those serving our country, making sure you don't have to stress about DMV renewals while you are stationed elsewhere.
Finally, we've made it to Section 6, final tips and disclaimers.
Let's move to a super important point and see how this builds on what we talked about earlier. Before you head out the door, I want to offer one vital piece of advice to protect your identity. If your license was stolen, beyond just getting the fee waived, you really need to complete the Identity Theft and Driver License Fraud Report with the FLHMSV. Basically, this slaps a flag on your record. It creates this official paper trail that protects you if some scammer tries to use your license during a traffic stop or tries to open accounts in your name. It keeps you totally clear of tickets and violations you definitely didn't earn.
And of course, here is our necessary disclaimer. While this explainer breaks down the current system for you seamlessly, state regulations, DMV rules, and those processing fees, they are always subject to change over time. So before you gather up your documents and start the process, it's always a best practice to consult the official FLHSMV website or call your local tax collector's office, just to verify you have the most up-to-date requirements.
Which brings us to our final thought. Will you be ready the next time you or someone you know misplaces a wallet? We really hope this explainer has transformed that initial wave of panic into a confident, totally actionable plan. You now know exactly what documents to grab, whether you should go online or in person, and how to shield yourself if your card was stolen. Stay prepared, stay safe on the roads out there, and thank you so much for learning with us today.